Hello, um, I'm grateful that you're here and you're watching this video, and I'm confident that you're fine, that you're doing okay. So today I'm going to talk about love. What is love? And I know most people think that they know what love is. Maybe you know, or maybe you don't. But I am going to talk about love in a different way from what people believe or think that love is, because most people associate love with human feelings and human emotions, but I don't believe that is what love is. Love is not just a feeling. Love is not just an emotion. That is a fruit of love. Feelings and emotions may be fruits or may be products or results of love, but they are not what love truly is. So I believe love is something else than what human emotions and feelings are. So love is, I define love as the knowledge of oneness, or the knowledge of our oneness with everyone, with the universe, and with God. Knowledge is the knowledge of oneness, the oneness with other human beings or all human beings, oneness with the universe, and oneness with God. It is not a human emotion. It is not a human feeling. I said human feelings and emotions, they may be products or results or fruits of love, but they are not love itself. And love being the knowledge of oneness, it means that you know that you are one with your neighbor, you are one with your friend, you are one with what you may have considered your enemy, you are one with the universe, and you're one with God. So remember when Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself. What does that statement mean? What does it mean to love your neighbor as yourself? It does not mean to have emotion towards your neighbor or to have emotions towards someone else. Love your neighbor as yourself means you should know that your neighbor is yourself, because it is easy to love yourself. It is very easy to love yourself. Maybe, okay, not so easy. Many people do not love themselves because they don't know what they are or who they are. But it is easier to love yourself than to love somebody else, because you know yourself, because you take care of yourself, because you live with yourself every day. But then Jesus comes and says, love your neighbor as yourself. He says, love another person, love another human being the way you love yourself. How is it possible to love somebody else the way you love yourself? It is only possible when you perceive somebody else or when you see somebody else as yourself. But when you see somebody else as another person, another human being, something else, someone else, then it is not easy to love them. So when Jesus says, love your neighbor as yourself, what Jesus is really saying is, your neighbor is yourself. Remember the definition I gave about love is the knowledge of oneness. So here, you are not looking at your neighbor as another, but you are looking at your neighbor in that perspective of oneness. So you are knowing that your neighbor is one with you, or your neighbor is you. So what Jesus really means is, your neighbor is you. Love yourself. Okay? And then Jesus also says, is it Jesus that said? But in the Bible it says that love your enemies and do good to them that persecute you. So what does it mean that love your enemy? What does it mean to love an enemy? Is it easy to love an enemy? Or it's not easy to love an enemy. Enemies are enemies. There are people we don't like, or there are people that don't like us. But why are we told to love our enemy? when you love your enemy, it means you don't perceive anyone as an enemy. You don't perceive anyone or anything as an enemy. Everything is a part of you. Everything is one with you. Anything that is one with you, anything that is a part of you, anything that is in harmony with you, you cannot hate it. So you are told to love your enemy because you are told to look at everything as yourself. And once everything is seen as being myself, as being yourself, then it ceases to be an enemy. In that oneness, in that union, there is no enmity. You see, there is only love. There is only oneness. That is what love is. That union, that knowledge of union and of oneness. That is what love is. So when you know that I am one with everybody else, I am one with God, I am one with the universe, then it follows that you cannot harm anything or anyone. It follows that you are not destroying and polluting the environment in which you live, the rivers, you are not polluting them. You are not destroying the trees. You are not destroying nature because you love, because you know what love is, because you know as long as I'm loving or as long as I'm destroying the environment, I'm destroying this universe, this earth that is so beautiful, I am only harming myself. You know that as long as I am not loving my neighbor, I am not loving myself because my neighbor is myself. You also know that as long as I am not helping my neighbor, I am not helping myself. Eventually, you come to realize that when you harm another person, you come to realize that when you destroying the universe, these things come back to you. You know, that is what most people do not think about. People think that I'm doing it to so and so, or I'm doing it for so and so. Everything you're doing to so and so or for so and so, you're doing it to yourself. Okay, so love your neighbor as yourself because your neighbor is yourself. Love your enemy because there is no enemy, because everything is one with you, everything is a part of you. But once you perceive anyone or anything as an enemy, you are separating yourself from that thing, and you're causing that thing to seem to be removed or far away from you, which is not true. Everything is one, is a part of yourself. Okay, so when it comes to God, the Bible says that God is one. Okay, what does it mean? It means God and everything else is in union. It doesn't only mean that God is one in that there is no other God. It means God is one in that God is one with all of his creation. This universe, you and me, everything else that you can see, it's an expression of God. It is one with God. So in love, there is no separation. In love, there is no enemy. In love, there is no neighbor because your neighbor is yourself. So there is no neighbor. In love, there is no you and God. In love, there's only union, there's only oneness. Which means eventually, when you know what love is, you fulfill the commandment. And remember, Jesus said, love is the fulfillment of the law. When you know what love is, you have fulfilled the law. There's no trying. There's no trying too hard to do this, to not kill your neighbor, to not steal from your neighbor, to not covet your neighbor's wife and property, because you have fulfilled all of those when you understand what love is. So thank you so much for watching. I'll be back with more videos. Thank you. See you next time.